Well, we've gotten a lot done, and we've got a lot to do. We're currently listing out all the projects in React by using the API call that we built in .NET. We got all the data hooked up, did what we need to there to connect to the database. We're serving the data, we're consuming that data. We've got these project cards that we're printing out for the project, and then we added in filtering by taking the information about what the user had checked, passing that along to the API. The API makes an update, serves us the new data, and we refresh our website. So we've done a lot, and you start to gain some appreciation for like real honest to goodness websites, what must go into it to make them happen. And so we're going to get in and keep going. We're going to get as far as we can, just working on this project. And so let's go ahead and open it up. I'll open up Visual Studio Code. And then we'll open our folder out on the desktop for me. Water project, select that folder. And before we do anything, I'm going to close out the windows, clean my workspace up a bit. Before we do anything, we want to create a new branch. So I'm going to say get branch just to see what branches we have currently. And we have phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. Well, this will be phase 4. So I'm going to say get branch phase 4. And now if I say get branch, I should see that phase 4 branch, but we are currently in phase 3, and we can see that here as well, down in the bottom left-hand corner. So to switch branch, what do? I say get checkout, and then I say the name of the branch. So I'm going to check out phase 4, and now we have our phase 4 branch, and we can move on from here and kind of keep things separated. Well, if I run my app to see where we're currently at. Now, I may end up working a lot more just in Visual Studio Code. A lot of the things we've done in Visual Studio to set everything up is done, and now we're mainly just running. And so I wanted to show you a way to do that. We can just go in and we currently have one PowerShell window, but if I click this plus button, actually it gives me the option to say, give me a split terminal, but I'll show you how I want to do it. So I can say add one, add a terminal, and then in here I can say make these split. Well, I think those are split. Oh, there we go. So now we've got two different terminals. So I can use this one to go in and say, let's CD into the back end. And then I can CD into waterproject.api and see what's there. And so I can do a ls to list it out. I want to be in the folder that has my project file, which is right there, to be able to run this. And so now that I'm there, I can do a .NET watch run. And that way I won't have to have the two open side by side. I can do some of the edits right here in Visual Studio Code. Ultimately, behind the scenes, it's just text files. And so we can edit the text file in whatever we want to edit it in. That doesn't matter. So it doesn't matter whether we use VS Code or Visual Studio or Writer or just a text editor, Notepad. We're just changing the text. And so anyway, I'll take this approach for the next little bit. And so we've got the server running behind the scenes, and if we do on the front end, we can CD into front end. And in the front end folder, we want to be where we can see package.json. And so we can see package.json, and so I can click npm run dev. And then I can pull up this website, and it loads up my data. Why I did it twice, I don't know. So we've got our website, we've got these cards listing out. I can go in and select different projects, which will change the view, what we're seeing on the screen. It'll modify it. Well, what do we want to do next? Currently, if someone were to come to this website, they can see the list of projects, but they can't do anything about it. They can't donate. So let's go in and create a way for them to donate. Let's create a little button that says donate. They can click on it, and it will take us to a page where we can say how much do you want to donate. They can add that to a cart, and we'll keep track of that cart as they navigate around and maybe choose to donate to more projects. So that's the idea for what we're going to be doing in this video. So where do we start? Let's create a new page. Now, this is where we start to get into a little more organization You can see that as we create a new page and start adding more components, this is going to get more and more cluttered with just a bunch of different files. And so we start to organize a little bit differently. One of the things we do is build in the source folder. I'm going to right click and say new folder, and then we're going to create a pages folder or directory. This is for our completed pages. So for example, is project list a completed page? It's not. It's a component on a page, right? And where is our completed page? Well, we're putting it together in app TSX, right? We take the welcome band, we take the category filter, and we take the project list, and those three components are making up our projects page. And so what I'm going to do instead, to try and keep this a little better organized and not have 400 files just sitting at the source level, is I'm going to go into my pages folder and I'm going to add a new file called my projects page.tsx. A lot of times we'll throw that page keyword on there to indicate that this is a completed page. And so now I can take the code that was in my app TSX file. So I can grab this code and cut it out of here. I'll grab the fragment, just the div, and then cut that out. So Control X or Command X. And then in my projects page, I can drop that code in. And I guess I'll need the structure first. I'll Control Z that for a second. And build the structure here. So function projects, project, I think I want to call it projects page actually. Projects page.tsx, or projects page, opening, closing parenthesis, opening braces, and then at the end we're going to export default projects page. I'll rename it in just a second. And then in here, I will return opening parenthesis, closing semicolon at the end, and then I'll drop the code inside there. Save that. And now it's not going to recognize initially this welcome band. I'll need to do an import for that. The category filter, I'll need to do an import for that. The projects list, import for that. And then it doesn't recognize things like selected categories, and so we'll need to resolve that. But we can do that. So right now that belongs to the app. That doesn't need to belong to the app. We need that. So if I grab that out from the app and drop it into projects page function, then we've got our constant there. It will recognize those variables. I'll need to import state, and now we've got no more errors there. I'll rename this to be projects page, plural, because it's going to be a list of projects, and that's just a name I'm giving it, obviously. In app TSX, then I don't need any of this stuff. I can get rid of all these imports. I don't know that it hurts to have them in there. And then what will we return? Well, what we're going to return is now projects page. This will become more important. Now we'll need to import that as well. This will become more important as we start to do navigation here in a minute, that we want app really clean other than the navigation. So now we've got the projects page. Well, what other kinds of folders might we need? In the source, we often have something called a components folder. And so we can create components, and a thing like a category filter or a project list. So category filter could go in components. Its CSS file will go along with it. We can have a separate CSS folder, but we want to keep those that are together. My project list can go up into the components folder. My welcome band, I should just say always on that. My welcome band can go up in that folder. And I'll just say always on that. And now we have the different components. Now we'll need to update here where they're located. And so now this is going to be in components / projects list. And now we're just a little more organized, okay? All right, let's continue on in the next video. Spencer, out.